Brian Blessing in Las Vegas, VegasInsider.com, NFL Week 5. Here's our opening line and line movement report. Let's dive right in. Let's start with Thursday. Tampa Bay is at Chicago. Now, this was a number that was Tampa Bay, the advanced number, -3, -$1.20, so it was going to go through 3. But all of a sudden, you're looking at a number that is now -6, the Bucs favored on the road, and the total on the game is 45 because Brady, 5 touchdown passes, even threw a pick 6, came back, beat the Chargers. Their offense was cranking. And then the Bears thought, hey, look, we got Nick Foles back in the lineup. They couldn't do anything offensively against the Colts. They have no running game. Now what do you do? Foles struggled. The Trubisky, Foles. But it's the Bears offense that's the big question mark and the big reaction here for that number to go up that high. Probably a correlated deal. Bears in the under, maybe Tampa Bay in the over. Let's get to the weekend. Carolina's at Atlanta. Atlanta was 4 as an advanced number. It's 3.5. The total on the game is 55 because, listen, Carolina's playing pretty hard. They beat Arizona. They're coming off a win. They get a W. And, of course, we get Atlanta on the Monday night game. See how they fare short week against the Packers. We know Atlanta can score. We know Atlanta can't stop anybody. But the one thing, Teddy Bridgewater, playing pretty good, playing pretty hard. They're just anxiously counting the minutes to get McCaffrey back in the lineup. Pending how Atlanta fares against the Packers, you might even see that number maybe land for a bit on the key number of 3. This one's up in the air. Buffalo's 1 at Tennessee. Total's 49. Will Tennessee even be allowed to play? Buffalo coming off a very workmanlike effort in Las Vegas, beating the Raiders. Allen has another big game. Stephon Diggs has been a revelation. The big thing for the Bills, the bottom line is the defense. Created turnovers. That's been their MO. It's been the offense winning games through the first 3 weeks. In week 4, the defense stepped up to the plate. But it will be Tennessee if they play this game. Not getting beat up, having played Pittsburgh, kind of like playing coming off a bye. Could be an advantage for the Titans. We get Las Vegas at Kansas City. 11.5 was the advanced number. It's up to 12. The Raiders, Buffalo really shut Jacobs down. The Raiders never got the running game going. They kind of pulled a Belichick, said, we're taking your best guy away. Derek Carr tried to beat us. He couldn't. And we know Kansas City, see how they come out of the Monday night game health-wise, but weapons all over the place. Let's go to Arizona and the Jets. The initial number was 8.5. Now Arizona's down to a 7.5-point favorite. Total on the game is 47. Some chinks in the armor for Arizona, losing to Carolina. Bottom line is the Jets are a dumpster fire. The offense is putrid. And, Arizona didn't set the world on fire against the Panthers, but the question is, how long can Gase last with the Jets? Hard-pressed to think that number gets to the key number of 7. Let's go to Philly and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a 7-point favorite, and Pittsburgh will be coming off a bye, basically. Philly, good for them. They're off the schneid. They get the win. Sunday Night Football, they beat the Niners. Short week, cross-country travel, and Pittsburgh will be fresh as a daisy. The one thing I will say is Carson Wentz was pretty fleet of foot. He actually looked really good against the Niners in their win on the road on Sunday night. The Rams, 9.5 was the number. It's 9. The total is 46 at Washington. Washington plays hard. They're just undermanned. They don't have the weapons. Could Alex Smith be part of the equation in the not-too-distant future? Ron Rivera threatened that. Listen, the Rams, the bottom line is, there's a good football team that plays well when they travel cross-country and go east. They're very comfortable in their own skin. Had that big rally against the Bills earlier this year. Let's go to Cincinnati at Baltimore. Baltimore's 13.5, totals 52. You may see 14 back and forth a little bit during the week. The total on the game is 52, as I mentioned. Listen, Baltimore easily took care of Washington after the letdown spot of having lost to Kansas City on Monday night. Would have thought they might have been a mad football team and really take it out on Washington. But the bottom line is Lamar Jackson can make the plays with his feet. I do think you'll see 14s. Jacksonville's at Houston. Houston, 6.5, 7, totals 54. Jacksonville's kind of a running hot and cold kind of deal here with Minshew. Robinson, the running back, good one week, but it's been bad the last couple. And Houston has been a disaster. They still have talent, and they faced a brutal schedule, but to spit the bit the way they did against Minnesota, not a good sign at all. Winless, Houston at 0-4. Miami at San Francisco. San Francisco about an 8.5-point favorite. Here's the rub. Mullins struggled against the Eagles to the point where they yanked him late in the game. He threw a pick six. Beathard came in, made it interesting against the Eagles. But we're waiting to see, will Garoppolo get back in the lineup from the high ankle sprain? He's been listed as week to week, so maybe he does come back. I don't know that would make a massive difference in the number here. But I'll tell you, Miami, the one thing about them, sometimes it's not pretty, but Fitzpatrick and this team, they do compete. I actually do think this number could come down a little bit. I don't know that it ever gets to 7.5 likely will happen. Indy was 2.5, now a 1-point favorite against Cleveland. Totals 47.5. What do we do with the Browns? This offense is singing like a top. They're creative, end arounds, Beckham, Mayfield. Pretty distressing the way they let Dallas get back in the game. But to their credit, they did answer the bell when Dallas came back and put the thing away. But the bottom line is Indianapolis. Frank Reich's doing cartwheels. He thinks this defense is ready to rock and roll now. And Rivers is not setting the world on fire here. But if that defense is good, Indy's a midful. As I said, money came in on Cleveland. This game could go off pretty close to pick when it's all said and done. The Giants are at Dallas. Dallas laying 11.5, totals 54. Play the over. Can't stop Dallas, and they can't stop anybody. The total would be the ticket here. Got to believe that will go up from 54. Denver at New England. New England, a 10-point favorite. It's down to 8.5, totals 48.5. Because we have the COVID situation, we don't know what's going on with Cam Newton, moving that game to Monday night. The sincere hope at the time of this taping is that they get the game in. But clearly the Cam Newton uncertainty, if it's Hoyer, Stidham, whatever, an 8.5-point favorite. Denver, that offense, pretty pedestrian on the road. Rippon made some good plays, but he makes a lot of mistakes. And against that New England defense, could be really problematic. You might actually see that number, pending how New England does against KC, that number go up just a little bit. And then let's go to the Sunday night game, Minnesota at Seattle. This is interesting. 9.5 for Seattle. It's down to 7.5 because Minnesota gets the win at Houston. The total's 58. The Justin Jefferson arrival gives them a weapon for Cousins, opposite of Thielen, and Cook's a terrific running back. They're off the schneid. They get a W. And Seattle, that travel to Miami and then back home. But, Seattle, very professional win at Miami, but at home, I think this game has track meet written all over it. Totals 58. It may approach 60. It could be that kind of game. And then the Monday night game, the Chargers are at New Orleans. New Orleans, a 7.5-point favorite. Chargers 1-3, showed a lot of good things against Tampa Bay, but at the end of the day, it really was Brady shredding them, and can Breeze do it again? But New Orleans is not the same team. Down 14-0 to the Lions, showed a lot of fight, but couldn't close the game out. Detroit had a real chance to come back and win that game, but boy, the Saints really need Michael Thomas to come back. And the Chargers, the question mark is here. When Tyrod Taylor comes back, do they go with him because it was the team doctor that put him on the shelf, or do they stick with Herbert? The kids look really good. If Taylor plays, I think it's an under game. If Herbert plays, I think it's an over game. So really watch closely and see who the quarterback is for the Chargers on the Monday night game. There you have it. A quick Gatling gun approach. It's our Week 5 NFL line report. I'm Brian Blessing in Las Vegas for VegasInsider.com.